Okay, great. So today what we're going to focus on, we want to kind of restart, jump back in, and really kind of just do a fresh restart, not technically, but mentally, on just looking at the resources that are available, looking at the partner page. Also, we're going to take a look at just a really high-level overview of the tools that are currently available, and then I'll give you a few little, oops, sorry about that, insights as to what we are going to be making, where you can see some updates, expect to see some updates coming in the next few months. And then also we'll be talking about, if we have any new staff that needs to have access to the tools. So just for starters, if you go to illinoisworknet.com, and along the top, there's a little icon here for partners. You can click on partners, and it'll toggle over to the partner side. To get to the other side, you just click the button again. And then if you scroll down, this is one way to get to the partner guide. We have the DHS Community Youth Employment Program Partner Tools. So we'll go to this page. If you haven't been to this page in a while, we have reorganized this page, and hopefully it'll be more helpful than the previous version of this page. We have articles here that provide, high-level overview, guidance on what to do for certain situations, and we'll look at those in a minute. We have an icon here that links to a page with all of the archived training webinars, as well as did tutorials. So we have some of those short tutorials. I'll be putting today's presentation information up here. We'll be uploading the presentation, so it'll be within the our archived webinars. Then we have the full list of resources, which we'll take a look at in just a minute, and then partner tool updates. So whenever there's an update, if you want to know, when updates have come out, besides us notifying you of those updates, you can look at the history of updates here as well. And then below that, we have our event calendar. So again, this is kind of a new format. So we put some of the more recent past webinars on this list, and then we'll be updating these topics. So after today, it'll move down to past events. I'm going to be working with Dee, and I'll be working with DHS and identifying various technical assistance areas. And so if you have anything that you would like to have as a webinar topic for our weekly webinars, please feel free to enter those into the chat or email them to us, whatever you are more comfortable with, to let us know what you would like to request as a technical assistance webinar. So it doesn't have to be specifically related to, how to use an Illinois WorkNet tool, how to do NOCTI, how to do, it doesn't have to be specifically like that. But I mean, in some cases it may be something like dropout prevention, or case notes, or mentoring, I don't know, or, motivating customers, something like that. If you have anything like that that you would like technical assistance on, please let us know so that we can work on getting that scheduled, so we can find some subject matter experts to talk about those topics. Okay, so I forgot to mention that we do have the link to the tools, the partner tools, off of this page as well. I'm going to go to the full list of resources because that page has been updated again. It's a little more different than our previous full list of resources. The content is still the same, it's just organized a little bit differently. So we still have all of our instructions, some more resources. We'll be adding some more resources. I know that DHS is working on a procedures manual, so we'll add that as different resources become more available or become available. And then under guidance, this is another area where you can access articles that we have available that have links to other resources. So for example, if I click Getting Started as a Community Youth Employment Program grantee, it has the basic, really simple text. Some of these are longer than others of what you need to do to become, to get set up in the group. And then we also have a listing of the different resources that are available. So for example, service delivery, get in, I'm enrolled, ongoing communication, documenting services and outcomes. So we have the career plan rubric, and if we don't already have them in the instructions, we need to add more information about like updating the career plan. So we'll work with Dee to make sure that all those resources. So you'll be able to see that we're continuing to update those pages. And as we have our technical assistance webinars that are specifically for these different items, topics, then we can add those to those guidance pages as well. Okay. Yep. So here, can we just have a technical assistance webinar that covers everything from the beginning: participant enrollment, worksite enrollment, NOCD. Yep. We'll definitely we'll definitely go through that information as well. So this is your go-to place for information. So what I'm going to do is moving forward to, I'm not sure when exactly we'll start this portion of it, but in some of our other programs, what we do is we actually go through and look at the different organizations, and then we just ask you to make sure that the numbers are correct, or they look correct, and then that helps with making sure that everybody is understanding like the process, and what we want to do is to make sure that we're identifying any of those issues early on, so that they can be updated and corrected earlier in the process than waiting until we have a whole lot of people in there and having to make a whole lot of updates. Okay, so what I'm going to do is that was an overview of the partner guide, and then we have just a look at the dashboard. Those were production numbers and some of the production information. I don't usually go through to the detail level that has customers when we're in production. We want to make sure that we're not sharing customer information accidentally. So what we're going to do now is just have a brief overview of the tools, and then what we'll do is we'll do all this in tests. Okay, so as Eric, okay, hold on real quick. I saw that we have my partner tab does not include CYEP or older program. Okay, it just means that we probably need to, I'm looking at the chat for those that are wondering what I'm looking at. Is there a way to access partner guide, or do you have to provide access? We do provide access to those tools. So if you don't have access to it, then we don't have your account in the groups that provide you access. Can we access the dashboard in a roundabout way, or no? Okay, so the question was, can we access the dashboard in another way that's not, but not through the partner screen? And the answer is yes. So what I'm going to do before we get too deep into this is, let's see if I'm going back to, it doesn't matter if you are on the individual side or the partner side. If you go to My Dashboard and you go to Customer Support Center, now I'm in production and I have access to all of the groups, so my list is going to be really large, but whenever your list will be much shorter. So that's how you access the information. You go to My Dashboard and then you go to the Customer Support Center, because everything that we have that we're working on is now in the Customer Support Center under the Partner Tools section. So that's another way that you can get to those tools. So that was a good question. Okay. Oh, hold on. Can we access the dashboard? However, we never access. I don't know. I see your questions here. I'll just have to look at it after the fact and see what's going on with your partner count. I mean, if it's everybody or if it's just you with, with your organization. So anyway, we'll take a look at that. So with this program, early on, for those that have been with us for a while, you know that we were actually building the tools as we're like implementing the program. And so that was really the main focus, because there are some more complicated type reports and stuff that we were using and building out and kind of figuring out how all those things work together. And so one of the things that a decision was made to not provide like a public page that had a link to the application, because we just didn't want like extra people, just finding the link and applying to it for one thing. And then also we knew that we needed to circle back to that feature. And anyway, this is kind of where it fell on the priority list. So one of the things that we will be adding is a public access page, and that way you'll have the program information there. You'll have a place for your customers to just simply direct them to that page, where they can click a button and access the application. So the very first part of the process is to have your customers complete an application. Okay. So we have application instructions for partners, application instructions for customers. You can hand these out. It gives them a little bit of information about what they are going to see in the application. And then it gives them a link to where they can access the application. So once they do that, they go through the areas on the application, and then as they complete the application, they will select you as a provider, and by completing the application, it makes that connection between the customer and the provider, because they select the provider that they're working with, and that's how you get them into your partner tools, which we're going to take a look at in just a second. Okay. So once they select you as the partner and submit their application, they will be in your group, okay, your Community Youth Employment Program group. And then they're going to populate your list of customers. Then there's a variety of searches that you can use, and filters and so forth. One of the things, if you do have a question about a customer, we prefer that you use the WorkNet ID. Please do not include first name, last name, date of birth in those emails. We want to protect their personal information. So please just use the WorkNet ID. You can easily search on WorkNet ID, and you can see the very first column that you have on this page is the WorkNet ID that's associated with the customer. You will see some updates to this page as well. We are going to be adding some more columns so that it relates to some of the areas that you would probably be more interested in. Like you'll be able to see like their worksite placement, if they've been placed or not. You'll be able to see the application submit date. And, we'll remove this column and add in a few more columns to bring up some more information, so it's just easier for you to see at a glance. So you can see we have your customer listed, and then the name, the last name is the link. So when you select the link, it takes you to the customer level information. So once they complete their application, it's available in their customer level tools. So for example, if I click edit this section, I can go to that section of their application, and if they needed to make a change, we could update that information. And this is the view that they see as they complete their application. So you can review their information, goes over the different questions that are available. And then the next step is to look at their progress page. So the progress page, we'll be updating this a little bit, but we'll go into those details when it's available. But just so you know, we will be updating some areas within their progress page. And I'll go over those in just a bit. For the progress page, you can identify the contact information. And when we say contact information, this is really more like their integrated resource team or the different types of partners that have access to this person's information that would need to be notified, or kept in the loop. If you want to send, a message or case notes, they're working, directly like with this customer. So those partners that have access to this organization's area, their CYEP tools, those partners will be listed here. If you don't see a partner listed here and they need to be listed here, then they would just need to be added to the group to make sure that they can have access to these tools. So you just select a person and update it. If you want to see their contacts, you can see them, you can remove them. So that's easy to maintain that list of contacts. Again, this is more like their integrated resource team. That's about who the partners are that are working with this customer. We have the verify initial program eligibility. I'm going to tell you that the way this works now is that the second column right here is what the youth self-identified. And so whatever they select in their application is going to be selected here. And so what it's basically saying is that if the customer says, I'm a runaway, then you collect the eligibility documentation to say or verify that yes, this person is a runaway. In some cases, maybe it's just they have to say that they are. Or pregnant or parenting, and you check it. If you have any of these that are checked, but you can't verify them, then with the current layout, it means that you have to unselect that option. We'll be working on some updates. I don't want to go into the details of those updates, but just expect that this page will be updated. So, but the current process is that if they have self-identified that they have any of these situations, then you would need to check that you verify that they do have that situation, and that's what qualifies them to be eligible. And if you cannot verify it at the current moment, you have to uncheck it. Okay. We have this question here. Did you hear about this through your local FCRC? This is part of something that goes with the PPR, the Periodic Performance Report. And so it doesn't make a person eligible or ineligible to participate, but we do have it in this section so that we make sure that that information is collected before you can enroll the person into the course, into the program. If you're unable to verify information, you can just simply click unable to verify. Once you say, yep, I've got all this information, check, 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 I hit verify eligibility, then you'll see that this person is already verified as eligible. So you'll have a note as to either they're verified eligible, unable to verify, or not verified. And then you can see who saved the information and what date the information was verified. Then you'll come down to enrollment status, so you can enroll them as in school or out of school. If you needed to put them on a waiting list, you could do that. You could indicate that they declined to participate or you're not willing to enroll them, whatever that status is. Then you just include it, and then you can see an enrollment history. So maybe the person was on a waiting list. You can see that that person had been on a waiting list and then they were enrolled. The performance measure deliverables, these, we have it in big bold letters, these are the items that impact the periodic performance report. And so you'll see that we have NOCTI has a PPR area that's related to NOCTI. There's an area related to the Employment 101, Skills and Interest, Employment 101. So that stuff does impact the PPR. This is on test, so it's not going to pull over some of this other production information. But one of the areas I wanted to point out is in the Employment 101, as you go through that tool, the individual can self-identify that they completed that section of Employment 101. And so as they complete each of these sections, this number will increase. So once they complete one section, it'll say 1 out of 8, all the way up to 8 out of 8. One of the areas that we wanted to do that impact the PPR is we just wanted to make sure, because this is self-identified that they completed these items. So if they literally just went through and checked that they completed all the items but did nothing, then the system wouldn't know any different. So we give you a link to view their plans and guides so you can see if anything was filled out. And then if you feel that they went through Employment 101 and didn't just breeze through and skip everything, then you would mark, this is what the staff person would go in and say, yep, I verified that they completed Employment 101, the guide. So that's what this little check mark is, and that's why that's important. Okay. We have the worksite information that's automatically updated based on the worksite's information that you put into the system. We have the career plan, and you can see the career plan summary. We'll look at that in just a little bit. But you can see, these are the areas that impact the PPR. This is another area right here, this last line item, that we didn't have a good way of just being able to pull that out of the system reliably. And so what we did is we added it to the progress page so that staff that are working with this customer would know if they improve their educational outcomes. So you could go in here, it takes a staff person to go in here and say that, yep, this person did one or more of these things or none of them. You know, you can see that it changes the icon from not complete to checked off. And then we have case closure. I'm not going to go into the details of everything that goes into case closure because there's a lot. But the status of this information up here is updated based on the information that is in the system. So what's in the system for this particular customer, because this is an older test customer, is that their participation ended as of April 27th, 2019. And then their last projected follow-up date is April 27th, 2019. So this area is going to tell you what's their projected end date and projected case closure date. But it doesn't mean you have to wait until those projected dates. If your person is good to go, they're employed, and they don't need any other support services, you can select to end that youth participation and identify one of those areas as either they're not placed with an employer and they're not working towards employment, either you're unable to verify their employment, or the youth is employed and follow-up is complete. You can mark them as one of those options. I don't think we're going to add any other options here at this time. But so those are options that you can choose from for case closure. And then you just save that information. If you have any other supporting documents, maybe it's a certificate, maybe it's a letter of recommendation, maybe it's an assessment result, you can put those, upload those into the documents area. Right now, we don't have any classifications for those documents, such as assessment versus certificate or credential versus, I don't know, pay stub or something like that. You just simply upload them into the general area for uploaded documents. Those are the main areas of the progress page. Okay, so I'm looking at the chat. So if we click verify, it doesn't mark employment green. I'd have to look at it because it's been a little while. It might have to go into this person and make them go through where it says 8 out of 8 items. I think if I remember correctly, you have to have this person as 8 out of 8 items, and this will make this green. And then you just have to go in and verify it. Post-secondary should be an option. For the improved educational outcomes, I will mark that down. I'm not sure where this list came from, but I will definitely make that. Oh, for case closure. I will bring that up. I'm not sure if they'll agree with that, but I will bring that up to them for case closure as post-secondary. Because really, either they're employed or they're not employed. So I will bring it up to them. So we'll let you know what that outcome is. So The other things that you can do, this profile it will stay here. We'll probably add more fields up here, and then we're also going to be moving instructions down below the profile. You can reset your customers' passwords here. That's a really useful tool for them or for you when working with them. The other thing, if you're not familiar with our case note tool, when you add a case note, we have just a general category. You choose the category. You add the contact date of when had, you know, when the event occurred, I guess you could say. And so you can't, if you notice this, you can't do something in the future. So like you can't make a case note for the end of May. You can only make case notes with a contact date of today's date or previous. So if we add it on the 6th, you can add a subject and then text. And you can either send it as an Online WorkNet message to the Online WorkNet team, the customer, and whoever you had listed as that contact group, that integrated resource team. That's what it will populate this area right here. Or you can save it as a message and an email, send it to each of those, or you can save it just as a case note without sending a message or an email. And I'm not sure if you could tell because of the resolution on the screen, but once I selected just save as a case note, these are all kind of grayed out. So it won't send any messages that way. So it'll stay just as a case note within the system. Once it's added, you can see the category, the subject, contact date, the note, and then who sent the message. And was it just saved as a case note, or was it sent as a message as well as a case note, and when it happened, when it was added. Okay. We'll look at career plan in just a second. Throughout these different areas, you can add case notes. And since we were talking about case notes, whenever I added that case note over here on the progress page, it's also going to add it to this case note like it's a summary page. And so you can see it was added here. That's what I just added. You can add case notes from this page. Just know that if you add a case note from this page, it's not going to populate the progress page. It'll just be here because it doesn't know where you want to add it to. So it'll just be added to this page. So you can add it to the progress page, you can add it to the career plan page, and it'll populate here, and it'll still stay on those. If you add it from this page, it'll just be on this page. You can export the listing of case notes, and I know that this is important for some that have to use another system in order to, and they have to put all their case notes into that other system. So you can export that list of case notes. And I believe with, depending, we can work with you on what that needs to be. So like if we needed to add in, change some of these headings or something like that, then we can add in that information so that you can upload those into your system. You can search, filter, here a bit. And then let's see, we have assessments. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, assessments. Those are the skills and interests. So this is a summary of the different assessments that are available. You have optimal resume. So if you're using optimal resume with your customers, if they have any like saved portfolios or saved resumes, cover letters, and so forth, whatever they have saved in their account, you will be able to see it from this page. You won't be able to edit the information, but you'll be able to review it. You'll be able to view it. And then we have the worksite placement. So you can see with this person, the whole overall list of this particular person's worksite placement history. Okay, so I skipped over career plan because it takes a combination of a variety of things, but I just want you to know that these case note, assessment, optimal, and worksite placement, these are more like summary type tools, like where you can enter information in some of these, but again, if you don't know where to look, you can always just click on case notes and search for those items. Okay, so let me look over here. Okay, so for career plan. Now, career plan, some people may or may not be familiar with the career plan. Some people that have been around for a long time know it used to be called the CYEP. It has changed so that the name of it is career plan. The format of it has changed. So if you're used to some other programs that you've participated with us in the past, like EPIC or DEI or Building Futures or any of those things like that, we used to have it, used to be called the CYEP. So some of the features will look very familiar to you, but know that it's now called the career plan. And what we've done is we've taken the lessons learned from when we used to have it as the CYEP, and we incorporated those lessons learned into the career plan. So what we have here, you'll see we have kind of this, we're looking at the overview page, but it's set up more like a process. So you have your overview, but then the first step in putting together the career plan is to review assessment information, then use that assessment information to set goals, use those goals to help you build a plan, and then we have the update log, so you can see who's made changes. On the overview page, we have case notes, which we just covered. We have print a customer copy. So after you work with the customer to put together a career plan, you can print the customer copy, and then it has some signature lines at the bottom, so you can sign that, and that can be uploaded into the system. I need to close out my thing here. And so you can save that into, you can print it out, save it into the customer's file. You can upload it if you wanted to in that upload files section. Or the other option is that once you've completed your career plan, that you can send an electronic request for the customer to complete, to sign off on it. You can indicate that they agreed and it's either on file or uploaded, or you can indicate that you were unable to get the customer's agreement on file. Anyway, that is always right here at the top, and you can see what the most recent status is. So you can see that this one was, they sent an electronic request for the customer to agree. I'm not sure, a little bit of background information or noise, so if you could just mute your phone or microphone, that'd be great. Unless you have a question, you're welcome to ask. Okay. So then, and then you can see the overview of the assessments, desired career path. And I see there's a question up here. Okay, so there's a couple questions. Is the uploading the career plan required? To my knowledge, the uploading of the career plan is not required, but you should have the information on file. And then, so the other question is, why is the career plan choice not selected? It's because for this particular one, we don't have it selected, but I'll show you that in just 1 second. Okay, so for the overview page, you can see, like I said, the assessments information. You can see where they are, what their status is, what they've completed. And then you can see the goals. If I click on show next steps, it'll show the items that were added for this person for each of these areas. So that's the overview page. If we go to review assessments, you can see that we have a listing of assessments. It's more than what I showed you in this assessment area, because this is really taking information that was included in the application and bringing it into the career plan, so you have everything right there. So we have skills and interests. These are the choices that they had from their intake form or their application form. This is what this particular person selected was manufacturing. And then you can see their related skills and interests. This is a test person, so they don't have related skills and interests. Okay, so we have employment goals. So you can see what they included in their application or intake form. The information is right here. We have a few other questions that we've added in addition to what is in the application or intake form, and you can click edit. So you can have a discussion about these areas and then click edit, and you could identify, oh, there we go. You can choose some of the career choices. That is weird. Now that you said that, why isn't it populating? You're right, I don't know why. Let me go back to my overview page, because that's, Let me have Cody look at that. I don't know why that, hold on, sorry about that. Let me take a picture of that so I can have Cody look at it. Anyway, when I update this, the other area is updated. I'm not sure why that one didn't, but I'll have Cody look into that. So thank you, Mary. Same thing with education level, employment related information, barriers to employment, and these are just some of the other tools that we offer. If they have their employment 101 information, you can just click on it and, from that area. If they have NOCTA results, it'll populate in this area as well, and so forth. If you have other assessments, you can add in the other assessment information into this section. Then what we ask you to do is to do an assessment summary. So, in a perfect world, you would do an assessment area on all these areas. It's not required. But let's say, at least for employment, work with them, say, okay, so what are my strengths? What are your customer strengths? What can they do to improve? What will a case manager do to support me? What my career advisor? So you don't have to answer every single one of these things. Maybe they don't have family that'll support them. So, what are some other things that a case manager can do to help them, or what other supports are needed? So it's not required that you fill out every single one of these and all the boxes for every single one. But it would be, it just helps with planning and identifying goals and other services that are needed to help this person, stay motivated, as well as finding out what types of support services they need in order for them to be successful in their employment. So you can just add the summaries. When you add the summary, it'll add it to the list. You can edit any time. Then the next step is to identify goals. So, based on, what their needs are, where they want to be, what they want to accomplish, you can write the goal statement. You can add it in with a category, either support service, employment, education, independent living. Is it long-term or short-term? And is it not started or on track? If you choose as not started, that's fine. Oops. it'll add it to the list. And then you can add services for that particular goal. Once the service has started, it'll automatically switch over it from not started to on track. So whenever you want to add services, we have a listing of services that have been identified, for CYEP. So you can see that the tag is that they wanted this service included as an option for you to select from for CYEP. You can filter by self-service, staff-assisted, referral. You can do by category. And then you can say, okay, well, I'm going to start permanent employment as part of this program. You can add that to that particular list of services that would be provided. And this is my test person, so we have all different types of things in here. So I just added this start permanent employment as part of my program. I'm going to select edit. I'm going to associate it with a goal, which is this gobbledygook that I have here. And in this case, it's pulling from my list of available work sites that I already have. So I can add it from that work site. It populated my information. I'm going to say this person's an unsubsidized and their start date is Monday. They work 10 hours a week, not WIOA funded, and it helps with their limited work experience, and update the customer, actually part-time. And so it updates that service that is now associated with a goal, and also is associated with what kind of barriers that it addresses down here. And since this is all about employment, it also includes like how many days I'm in subsidized employment. I'm not for this particular one. And in 30 days, I'll do follow-up. It's due on June 5th. And then once June 5th hits, this will become unlocked so I can check off that I did that 30-day follow-up. So you'll want to make sure you're doing these follow-ups because that also impacts your periodic performance report. Okay. So that was a super fast go through of the tools that are currently in CYEP. I'm sure it's a review for many of you because you're already using it. It's probably information overload for anyone who's new, but we will take a step back and start going through these more, in depth, and to be able to have you ask questions, and provide, status updates of where you are. Those will be some of the next upcoming webinars that are provided. Do we have an option to check follow-up for unsubsidized? An option, meaning like, yeah, okay, so if you're saying that a person, maybe they're in subsidized and then they move to, or maybe they never were subsidized, they're always unsubsidized, yes, it's going to give you the option to check if it's 30, 60, 90, 180, 270 days. So yes, because the goal is to obviously move them all to unsubsidized positions and to keep them employed for the 270 days. So yep, that's perfect. That's fine. Not a problem. I believe if I look back at the instructions that the worksite evaluation is due at the 30-day markup for the 30-day milestone for follow-up. And that's just to like really make sure that, you know, again, like they document things are going well. And then, yeah, just keep following up for the 270 days, because it also goes back to that case closure that you really want to keep following up with them. I mean, even if they don't need services, but they're still eligible for services, you know, their situation may change. You know, maybe they had a car and everything was going fine, then all of a sudden, I don't know, they got a traffic ticket or the car broke down or something like that, and now they need assistance for transportation, you know, to make sure that they can still go to work, because obviously they need to work to get more money so they can fix their car. But, you know, so it's always good to stay in touch and then mark and identify that you're following up with those customers, even if it is unsubsidized. Okay. Any questions? Like I said, I know that we flew through this. I'm going to have Cody look at the career pathway piece and see what's going on with that. But so the first, like some upcoming things that we'll be doing, we'll be updating some of the reports, updating the progress page, and updating the application, and creating a public access type website so that your customers can go to that particular page and just hit apply, you know, from the WorkNet homepage, instead of, you know, having to hand out a paper flyer and having to go to the URL. So anyway, those are the updates. If you have any questions, please feel free to give us a call or an email, and then if we don't hear from you, we'll be back at the same place, same time next Tuesday. So thank you very much, everyone.